Okay, just going to do a quick video here on the topic of freehand sketching. Okay, so if you're just a copy page or anything around the place at home, we're going to look at a few shapes. We're going to look at cubes, or prisms. We want to look at the cone, the sphere, and the pyramid. So, starting off anyway, and one that is very important to be good at is being able to draw cubes and spheres and stuff. So I'll just divide this up here into quadrants. Okay, so starting off there with a V, like that, and the next step is, I'll just do it in a couple of goes here. You want to draw vertical lines. Now, vertical has to be parallel to the side of the page, okay? And you want to keep them all the same height. And the next step there then after that is to join the top of them. Now, if you keep the heights the same here, automatically the slope will be the same there on the left and on the right. And finally then, and this is the bit that seems to catch a lot of people, is when we have that done, is to put that the top here needs to be parallel. So whatever the angle is there, if you just run your pencil over it, parallel, whatever the angle is here, parallel, and that there is the top of our cube. And what I just will do there then is what makes it look realistic is if you put a surface around it, and just take your time. We'll apply a few colours onto this here. Okay, so there's our cube sitting on the surface, and I'm going to just do a bit of rendering, which is basically colouring to make something look realistic. So I'm going to put a small bit of rendering on this there with a slightly different shade. So I'm going to just go put some colours on that there. Just I'm going to just lighten it off there then as I come forward a bit. Okay, so we've got a Okay, so we've got a cube sitting on the ground there. So that is the basics for drawing a cube. So that's why I just did it out there in your different steps. Now, after a while there then, when you get, now it takes a bit of practice to get good at drawing them. Now, some common mistakes you will see there, I'll just say mistakes, is people do their V and then for some reason they tend to put these coming in sideways and you get a thing that looks like this. Okay, so that's a combination of those kind of errors there. So make sure that the vertical here, that all the verticals are parallel. You know, by sliding your pencil or rolling, you can see the problem with that. Now what's good practice then after you can do that is just to move towards rectangular prisms then. So when you start off with your V, just do a long and a shorter one. Here comes the verticals. Keep them the same distance. That automatically then will keep the side, the top and bottom will be parallel, and again there then the back needs to be parallel to this. Just your brain will remember the angle. Okay, and there we have a prism, and I will just, and again there then I'm not going to go through the whole colouring here now. Maybe I can pause the video and run through the colouring, and again there then we'll just do a V. Again, you might need to roughly with your pencil just check that they're all roughly the same height. So there's the top. And then, so I'll just continue on there with some more. They're all the approach, the step by step is always the same. Do your V, keep these the same height, and then the angle at the back. Now, if you want, then the next kind of step or progress there then is we could make it a hollow brick if we wanted, or a hollow slab, by using lines parallel to the sides. So parallel lines is the key here. So I'm going to stick hopefully I'll be able to fast forward this when I'm video editing there. So then I'm going to look there now next at the sphere. Now, the great thing here is for drawing circles, which you can practice a bit there. So a sphere is a sphere in every view that you look at it. Okay, so basically there, if I draw a circle and just do a surface underneath it like that, there we have a sphere sitting on the surface. Now, what you could do for, say, if you draw some oval shapes on it here, so I'm going to just shade this in. Now down low near the ground underneath would be heavy, getting a bit lighter. Now, if you had different weights of pencils, it's a lot easier to do this because, and I'm just trying to follow the curvature a little bit around as well. But if you had different weight of pencil, I'll just smudge that a tiny bit afterwards. Okay, so there's a sphere sitting on a surface. Now, what can you do with this? Because let's say you could say that every sphere would be the same. Now what you could do with it, alright, though, is let's say the top of it was chopped off. So you might draw an ellipse. And the rest of the sphere there. And this time let's put it sitting on a rectangular surface, or if you wanted to bring in a little bit of your previous work into it. So now we have it sitting on a slab, and you could put the slab sitting on So if you did happen to have a few colours around the place now, I'll just put that in yellow. So again there now we just have a sphere sitting on a slab. So you can just practice there a little bit of colouring and shading and stuff like that there. Now, other stuff then that you could do there then is you could have a sphere so something like a microphone or an ice cream cone, that type of thing. So I'm going to move on there because, oh yeah, what I might include there actually, I forgot there is, we've got the pyramid, the cone. I'm going to include down here the cylinder. Now a cylinder is an ellipse or an oval shape. From the very outside, we're going to go down an equal distance, half the ellipse here. So there is our cylinder, like a bean can or whatever. Let's put it on a surface. I'm going to heavy in around the sides of it vertically dark like this. And again there now, ideally you would have a few different weights of pencil, but you know, I know not everybody will have that, so I'm just gonna improvise here with one pencil. So there is our cylinder sitting on a surface. Now, if you wanted, then you could also combine, a highlighter actually works quite well, but you could also combine some other colours there with it just to make it a bit more realistic looking. So there's your basic cylinder, and again there then some changes to that there would be with making just a tall cylinder or a slab. And then once you're mastering it there, you could draw your cylinder like this. So again there, I'll just color these in really quickly. Okay, so that's just a quick look there what you can do with a sphere, cylinder and rectangular prisms. Might just run back and put some colours on these. Okay, so the next one I want to have a quick look at here is a cone. So again, a cone is straightforward enough in that you've got basically a half an ellipse and two straight lines. And again, they're just, it's sitting on a surface, does a lot for it. Now, what you could do then with cones is you could look into the whole area of a cut cone or a truncated cone. So again, around the sides should be darker. Whereas, and straight lines coming down from where the top would have been. Just getting lighter. And again, you can do the same thing there, then you could make it hollow if you wanted. And then you can just blend in a different colour if you wanted as well. Like this is an exercise now for just messing around and experimenting and seeing, you know, what works well and what doesn't. So it's not a big deal if you make, you know, if you try something and it doesn't work out. It's no big deal. So then, we just look at a truncated cone, turn the other way, would be an oval shape, and it would be just coming down, like it would be coming to a point down here, but we don't need that. Maybe I could just show you where it would be going, so that is where the cone would have been. But so there's a truncated cone. And it's very important that when you're doing your shading or rendering that all your lines would be going towards where the apex, the point of the cone would be. That is important, alright. And I'll just do some of that on the inside as well here. So again there. Now I'm going to put a surface underneath that. I think when you're putting a surface in there, it's a lot easier to put a squiggly surface there than trying to do rectangles, especially when you're starting off. So you don't need to be making it any more difficult when you're just learning. And I suppose the next step there, then, if you have a full cone and a truncated cone and another truncated cone, is you could just fool around there then with, let's say that would be something like maybe a lampshade. Might have a truncated cone and a cylinder. And another cylinder down here. So, or you could, you know, just so again there, I'll just throw a tiny bit of rendering on these. Okay, so there's basically some shapes that are based on cone, truncated cone, and then cylinder. Just a little bit of rendering and shading there as well, just to get a bit of a feel for it. So finally I'm going to look at pyramid. So again there, if you're starting off with a V, which you would be, and it's a bit like a cone there, then it goes to an apex, and there, and here. So again, just put a surface underneath it. Put a bit of a Okay, so there's just a normal pyramid. What obviously then the next step again then would be maybe doing a truncated pyramid. So I'm going to draw towards this point. Now you could draw it, maybe I'll look at drawing it light. And the cut of this side needs to be parallel to the base, so you could roll your pencil or slide your pencil up there, but it needs to be parallel to the base. And the same over here, parallel to the base and at the back. So that there would be a truncated pyramid. So I will just try drawing an inverted truncated pyramid there, just an upside down pyramid, which should be starting off with so again the apex would be around, or the point of the pyramid would be around here, so they all need to go towards that point there. That's parallel to this. The bottom would be parallel to that, about the same size. And again, surface. Okay, so full pyramid, truncated pyramid, upside down truncated pyramid, and just look at maybe do something there, then finally again like another inverted pyramid, but So this might be just something like a storage box or something like that, or a hopper or something. So finally there now, I'll just colouring the main headings on this here. So this sheet is meant to be a start for first years in freehand sketching of some of the main shapes that we would deal with in graphics. Okay, so I hope you enjoy having a go at that.